While Russian forces have retreated from Kyiv, Ukraine's second city, Kharkiv, continues to be under intense bombardment. The Ukrainian military says Russian troops are trying to advance on its center, just 20 miles from the Russian border, but are being held back. It means more shelling and more rocket attacks every day. Despite the attacks, efforts continue to try and evacuate residents.
Я думаю, они делают это специально. Эти все разрушения по гражданской инфраструктуре.
I think they do it on purpose, all this destruction of civilian infrastructure. They do everything to scare people, create panic. Up until April there were more killed civilians than military. So this is direct and obvious genocide of our nation, and no Ukrainian can stand aside.
Здесь в стороне не может стоять.
Well, for more on this, let's cross live to London and join Arise Chief Correspondent John Cookson, who recently returned from Ukraine. Thanks so much for joining us on Newsday. What will President Putin and Antonio Guterres focus on in their meeting?
Hi, guys. Good to see you. Well, the focus today with Putin will be to try to get some confirmation of the establishment of humanitarian corridors from cities like Mariupol, down in the south, which has been under bombardment now since and under siege since February the 24th. 95% of that city has been destroyed, according to the Ukrainians. 20,000 people dead at least there, and 100,000 people trapped in basements and underground areas in that beleaguered city. So what Guterres has to do this afternoon is to try to persuade Putin to agree to these humanitarian corridors, which have been set up in the past, but which have suddenly come under fire, the Ukrainians say, from Russian forces. As we speak, at the moment, there's a press conference going on between the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, and Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister. And Guterres has been saying that what he wants to do is to set up a committee, a group to monitor these humanitarian corridors managed and observed jointly between the UN, the Russians, and the Ukrainians. So he has to try to persuade President Putin that that's a good idea. You said in the intro that there are low expectations of this visit by Guterres to Moscow, and I would concur with that. It seems that Russia's President Putin is not listening. It seems that he doesn't care about the humanitarian disasters that's going on all over Ukraine at the moment, especially in cities like Kharkiv and Mariupol. And Guterres has got a real task on today. But at least, look, he's there. He's talking to Putin, and while they're talking, there has to be hope.
And John, the UN has been criticized for not taking a more active role. Now, is that a little justified?
I think so. But look, the UN was set up 77 years ago in the immediate aftermath of the Second World War to what is called in its Article 1 to achieve the harmonization of nations, and perhaps we're expecting too much of the UN in this particular conflict. They have had success in Namibia, Sierra Leone, El Salvador, but that was a long time ago. You know, the world has changed so much, and a lot of the the vigor and the forthrightness of the UN is largely down to a Secretary General, and one thinks of the past of great Secretary Generals like Kofi Annan, but they're not there anymore. Guterres seems to be more reserved about taking firm action, but look, as I said earlier, at least he's 2 months into the war. He's actually arrived in Moscow and can actually try to do something. Of course, the UN is stymied to some extent by the way that it's set up with the Security Council of 15 members, 5 of which are permanent members, and one of those is Russia. So any punitive measures by the Security Council are immediately vetoed by Russia. So this is something that has to be looked at in the future. It's a different case for the General Assembly, but all they can do is condemn what's happening in Ukraine. So to some extent, the UN is out of date. It needs a shake-up if indeed it's got a role to play in the world now and in the future. Guys?
All right, so what is likely to come out of the meeting European defense ministers and the north of Germany are going to be having today?
Yeah, all this meeting really is about is arming Ukraine and giving them the equipment that they need to fight this proxy war. Lavrov is absolutely right. It is a proxy war now between the West and Russia. And in particular, the Germans will, after some dithering around for a few months, will agree to send 50 tank anti-aircraft systems called Gepards to Ukraine, which could make some difference in this war. But look, Ukraine needs far more than 50 of these tanks. It needs 5,000 to beat the Russians. But this is the most significant thing that's likely to come out of the meeting at Ramstein Air Base today.
Meanwhile, John, you just recently came back from Ukraine. What's the latest on the ground there?
Well, latest overnight, and you alluded to that earlier on, that the Russians have been pounding the east of Ukraine, especially around Kharkiv, where they claim to have killed 500 Ukrainian soldiers, which is a very large number indeed in a number of attacks. On the international front, Russia has expelled 40 German diplomats from Moscow. This is a tit-for-tat expulsion following Germany taking the same action. And in a deeper background area, Finland and Sweden have announced that next month they plan to begin the process to join NATO, which will upset Russia hugely.
All right, John Cookson, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and joining the program.